Welcome to this another video session of module 1. Let me briefly tell what we so far covered in this module 1. The main points: initially we gone through static anode cathode characteristics of SCR. Then we gone through gate characteristics of SCR and concluded with some portion of the module 1 with different triggering or turn on methods of SCR. That is a very simple portion we covered initially. Then we indulged into the very important part, another very important part of this model 1, that is turn off methods, covering different commutation methods there, like natural and commutation methods we covered there in detail. So after that one, today we are going to focus on gate triggering circuit and its different variations. So what are the different schemes available to turn on the SCR? So the circuit diagram what you are observing here, so this one is a typical circuit diagram or block diagram normally used for the triggering your thyristors. So its main job here is to generate such kind of train of pulses here, which are going to controlling the turning on off of the respective thyristors here. Okay, so T1, T2, T3, T4 like that. So the turning on of the top and turning on of the bottom thyristors will be sequentially controlled by these square pulses, which are now generated with the help of this the pulse amplifier or control logic circuit here. Now you can see here, so 4 thyristors are there which are appearing surrounding 3 sides of this pulse amplifier. So the gate pulse to thyristor T4, you can see T4 is there here. So G2 K2 means here T2 will be there here. Gate pulse we are going to apply to the T2, and here the gate pulse to thyristor T1 and similarly T3 like that. Means all the 4 thyristors now are connected in the form of a bridge here. Okay, so this together is now we are going to this rectifier, bridge rectifier is surrounding this pulse amplifier here. So now you can see how we are getting these pulses here, these pulses which are going to play important role in controlling the switching of these 4 thyristors. So these pulses are generated in the controlled manner with the help of this control logic and delay angle block. So there the input is control voltage. Okay, so this another input what we are getting is coming from the line voltage. Whenever the line voltage is crossing, okay, you can see here transformer line voltage is crossing. Okay, so whenever the line voltage is crossing the 0, this is the 0 line. Okay, when it is going to crossing the 0, okay, so the control voltage is here, this is the control voltage and this is the line voltage. So line voltage is coming here and your control voltage is coming here. Okay, so line voltage whenever it is crossing the 0, okay, your control voltage, that is a positively going ramp signal is there. Okay, so ramp signal is actually generated by the this block here. Okay, so here the ramp signal is coming and here your here the control voltage is coming here, this is the control voltage. Okay, that is a straight line what you are observing now, the control voltage is coming here and the ramp signal is now coming here, another input. So what you can see, so this concept already we have studied guys here, okay, as a simple ramp type DVM. Okay, so here continuously increasing ramp is always compared with the standard control voltage here. Okay, DC voltage. So whenever this positively going ramp crosses this control voltage, okay, then your control voltage or whatever the control pulse will be triggered. Okay, again during another finding of the ramp crossing the control voltage, another pulse will be, gate pulse will be generated. Like that sequentially will go on getting the sequence of the train of pulses generated each time whenever the ramp is going to cross the control voltage. So in this way we are going to get a sequence of the pulses which are quietly playing important role in controlling the switching of these thyristors connected in the bridge form, which are now connected surrounding the pulse amplifier. We are not going in detail about this circuit here. So just sometimes it may be asked, not quite often it has been asked in the VTU exam. So this much if you explain is sufficient, but you need to practice this block diagram, okay, and these waveforms. So two block diagrams are there, two diagrams are there, and a set of waveforms here. So this much briefly you can explain. Explanation is also given in the notes, you can refer later. So the main thing what we need to cover here is next. So how we can use this such kind of gate triggering circuit to turn on your SCR. Two variations are there, two types are there. One is called resistance firing circuit. Okay, here you can see sorry, AC supply is there, that is your ES, your ES is there here. Okay, that is an alternating sinusoidal voltage with the peak Emax connected in series with the load and in loop with the thyristor, okay, A and K, with its gate connected to RB, okay, with its gate connected to RB. And this R minimum we are using to limit the maximum current whenever the thyristor is on. No, the maximum current which is going to flow, it should be limited with help of this R minimum. So this R minimum is chosen so that it should be greater than or equal to whatever E max by, means maximum voltage applied, divided by the gate current what you are getting. By solving this, that value we are using it as a minimum R minimum value, which is playing an important role in limiting the maximum forward current you are getting once SCR will be turned on. Okay, so let us see guys what is happening here. Okay, so ES is a alternating sinusoidal voltage. Okay, so we'll start the operation slowly from 0 to this, it will go on increasing like this. Notice increasing like this, increasing like this, increasing like this. Okay, but still your SCR is in the forward blocking state. Breaker voltage reach agilla and gate signal now kottilla. Okay, so gate signal we are not discussing here, gate signal we are not applying here, but that is coming as a part of RB here. Let us see, that we can discuss later. So from 0 to this portion, still your thyristor or SCR is off, it is in the forward blocking state. Okay, means whatever the input voltage is there, so this portion, whatever this portion is there, that is happening across anode and cathode, because anode and cathode are not connected, they are off, because your SCR is off. So whatever the input voltage there, that is coming across this here, from this to this it is coming, no output across the load because SCR is off. Once we'll reach this point, okay, we'll cross over the forward breaker voltage, your SCR will be switched on from forward blocking to conduction mode. So at this instant you can see SR is short circuited, whatever the input you are getting, so this portion now it is happening across the load, not across the anode cathode, that is SCR. Now SCR is off. Okay, minimum voltage it may be holding, that is very much negligible. So here you can see SR is on, whatever the input you are getting, that is appearing now across the load. Okay, now this is what it is happening during positive peak. Now during negative peak you can see, okay, during negative peak of the ES here. Okay, so negative positive, your thyristor is off here. Once again thyristor is off during the whole negative peak, means whatever the input is there, that is coming across the SCR here you can see, and that is maintained until once again the next positive peak, your SCR will be switching in the conduction mode. Alliವರೆಗೂ ಅದು whatever the input is there, that is happening across the anode cathode, that is turned off SCR. Okay, Like that this cycle is go on repeating. Okay, so the drawbacks of this method here you can see. So one more thing, R minimum I have told it is a limiting resistance which is going to limit the maximum current flowing once the SCR is in the conduction mode. Now you can see here SCR is in the conduction mode during this portion and this portion. This portion ಒಳಗೆ the maximum current whatever it is flowing through the anode cathode should be limited within the minimum value, otherwise it will destroy your SCR. So that is the duty of R minimum. What is RB here? RB will be the design so that its value is decided by RV plus R minimum into Vc max divided by E max minus Vc max. So this one value they have given here, RV is nothing but the load resistance here. Okay, so that we can use. So this equation can be used, and Vc max is nothing but the maximum gate voltage. Okay, if you are applying the gate signal, what is the maximum gate voltage that you need required to turn on the SCR well before the breakover voltage. So that can be used to design this RB. So by looking at these equations, they will tell that there is a dependency of the triggering angle alpha on the SCR, that is IC minimum. Okay, so the triggering angle here you can see will depend on the gate current. Okay, so gate current increase ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತ ಹೋದಂಗೆ we have studied that one in the anode cathode CAD 6. Gate current increase ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತ ಹೋದಂಗೆ the triggering of your SCR timing will be go on decreasing. Means triggering angle. So this is the triggering angle, guys. Okay, when you go on increasing the gate current, this angle will be go on reducing like this. It will be coming from here. It is go on reducing like this if you go on increasing the gate current. So that is a dependency of the triggering angle alpha. It is going to depend on the gate current, and it can be varied only up to 90 degree. Okay, not beyond 90 degree triggering angle. Okay, that is one limitation is there. So why it is limited up to 90 degree, you can refer to the notes, you can easily understand that I quoted there. Okay, so that also you can include while you are going to explain about. So the main thing here is what is happening during positive peak and negative peak. During positive peak, only in during this portion your SCR is in on state and maximum current flowing through it is limited by R minimum during these portions. During negative peak until to some portion of the positive peak, you are what you can say, it will be in the off state SCR. Next, another version, that is a resistance capacitance firing circuit. So this you listen guys carefully. Okay, the circuitry is quite different here. Once again, this one is your ES, that is E max sin omega t, alternating sinusoidal waveform with plus E max and minus E max. It is expanding between plus E max and minus E max. Okay, now for the convenience of explanation, we'll assume that operation we are going to start explaining from the negative half cycle. Okay, so during the negative half cycle we can see, during the negative half cycle of this ES is here. During negative half cycle, this is negative and this is positive. Are you with me? Listen here carefully. During negative half cycle why we have chosen to start with? Normally what we can say, during positive half cycle what will happen, during negative half cycle what will happen. Normally like that we can explain the operation, but here to understand you or to explain more conveniently, we are starting with the negative half cycle. Otherwise again the things are going to repeat again from negative to positive like that. Okay, so we'll start with the negative half cycle. Negative half cycle iddaga this end will be negative and this end will be positive. Okay, so the end negative iddaga, okay, let us see what is happening. Negative is coming here, T1 will be off. Okay, and the same negative is coming here. Now D2 will be on. Means as thyristor T1 is off, D1 is also not coming into picture. So the whole circuitry what you are getting during negative half cycle. So here it is this loop you are getting, as G2 is on, this loop you are getting. Okay, this negative, this positive. Negative is connected to anode of T1, this will be turned off. Okay, and here negative is coming here, this will be turned on. Okay, so now what is happening, negative and positive is there. What is happening with the diode D2 on, so negative polarity of this supply is connected to top plate of C, and positive polarity of this supply is connected to bottom plate of C. So with this polarity, now your capacitor will start charging. Okay, that's why you can see it will start charging towards the negative peak minus E max. Okay, so this minus E max will be maintained. So during the whole negative peak it will start decreasing. So for the whole negative peak, your T1 will be turned off and only your D2 is short circuited. So our only circuit is looking like this. This is only one loop all the way from ES to load to D2 C, C and coming like this. Okay, so during this whole negative peak it is like this. Okay, now what will happen in the initial stage of positive peak? So once your ES will reach 0, okay, and start increasing, because during initial portion of positive peak also T1 is in the forward blocking state. Okay, so till that this minus Emax will be maintained. This minus Emax will be maintained. Okay, so once after forward blocking it will be turned on, means switch to the conduction mode. Okay, so when it will be reaching to the conduction mode, when your SCR T1 is turned on, so when you can see in the next figure, it is very much clear. Sorry, okay, here you can see here with the red light it is moving. So this will become positive and negative. T1 is turned on. Okay, with this turned on, T1 is turned on. Positive is here, D2 is not coming into picture. Okay, and T1 is short circuited. Okay, T1 is short circuited and D1 is now acting like a gate signal you are applying to T1. Okay, now whatever the capacitor now it has been charged, now it will start discharging through RV and T1. Start discharging through RV and T1. You can see here. And once T1 is turned on, it is totally discharged and it is going to maintain very small voltage, that is called gate voltage. So when your SCR is turned on, only when VG minimum, till this one the voltage is VG minimum. So once D1 will be turned on, VD1 will also be added with VG minimum. Okay, VG minimum plus VD1 will be added. That is sufficient gate voltage to trigger on your SCR, that is T1. When T1 is triggered on, the voltage across T1 is maintained, that is a gate voltage. Minimum gate trigger voltage will be maintained. Okay, when T1 is on. So once again, so means this triggering is shown, means what is the triggering signal you are getting because of D1 only. That D1 is turned on only during the positive peak, not during the negative peak. So this cycle will be repeated. This is how resistance capacitance combination can be used to turn on your SCR. Okay, so these are the two different mechanisms we have seen. That's how to turn on your SCR using resistance firing circuit and resistance capacitance firing circuit. So this is the simple circuitry. You can see how the sign convention is going to change and current flowing is going to change anti-clockwise to clockwise. Okay, has been shown here during negative peak and positive peak. So these circuits orientation quite different here, but besides that the operation will be remaining same. So these circuits will little bit help you to understand what I explained so far regarding the operation of gate triggering with the help of RC firing circuit. Next we will go with the last point in the module 1, that is UJT basic operation. This UJT hope already you have studied in the lower semesters. So this is the very simple circuit and very simple operation is there. So two main points we are studying here, guys. One is uh, UJT basic operation, and another one is UJT relaxation oscillator. So construction wise, it simply contains heavily doped p region, that is acting like an emitter, and lightly doped n bar, n type bar. Okay, so because of this, it is going to form two p-n junction diodes with heavily doped p. Okay, so therefore we have two terminals. One is connected to the top, and another one is connected to the bottom n type bar called b2 and b1. Another one which is connected to the heavily doped p region, that is emitter terminal. Now it is indicated by like this. The arrow it is going to indicate that because of heavily doped p region, your charge carriers are coming into the p region. That is the meaning. Okay, and its equivalent circuit has been shown with the help of a emitter B1 diode, that is a emitter B1 diode or B2. So we will be getting here RB1 varying and RB2. The combined resistance is known as RBB, base to base resistance. Okay, so normally here that resistance is known as interbase resistance, varying from minimum 4K to maximum 10K. And normally we'll choose RB1 greater than RB2 for the optimal operation of the UJT. Okay, so if you look at to the operation, the whole operation is divided into two parts: off state and on state. Off state, when emitter base current is emitter base, okay, EB1 is reverse biased. Okay, when EB1 is reverse biased, okay, when EB1 is reverse, when it is will be reverse biased, when emitter voltage is less than the emitter to emitter voltage, when VEE is less than Vx at this voltage. Okay, when anode voltage is less than cathode voltage, then this will be turned off, and whatever the voltage at Vx is there, here it has been written there. So when this diode is off, that is emitter diode is off, emitter current is very much small. In that case, emitter voltage means voltage at this point is approximately equal to emitter voltage. Okay, so at this instant your circuitry is because this one is open circuited, your circuitry is looking like simply containing RB1 and RB2, and this loop you are getting. Okay, only this loop you are getting. Okay, now during this instant what will happen, whatever the current you are getting in the loop is only because of this source VBB. Okay, so let us try to understand it in detail. Now we are discussing the cutoff region of your operation. Okay, so with this condition, diode D1, this diode is disconnected, it is in the off state. The voltage at this point, okay, voltage at this point, how you can calculate? RB1 and RB2 are in series, means voltage at this point is nothing but voltage across RB1. Okay, so that is voltage across RB1 means V equal to I into R. What is R here? RB1. And what is I here? I equal to V by total resistance. V is nothing but what? VBB divided by total resistance in the circuit, because only this one loop you get in mind. How will you get the total current flowing in the circuit? Total voltage divided by total resistance. Total resistance is nothing but series combination of RB1 and RB2. So that is VBB by RB1 plus RB2 will give you the total current flowing in this loop. So that current, if you multiply with RB1, will give you the voltage across this. Okay. Now I will call RB1 and by RBB as intrinsic standoff ratio, which will vary from 0.5 to 0.8. Now our equation will become for Vx equal to zeta into VBB. So how long your diode is off? As long as Vx is more than VEE. When Vx will become more than when Vx will what you can say, now your Vx is how much? Zeta times VBB. Okay, so because of this intrinsic standoff ratio, VEE is now maintained less than Vx. As long as this VEE is less than Vx, this diode is off. Okay, Now when this diode is turned on, that will be happening only when voltage at this point will start reducing. Okay, voltage at this point will start reducing. So at that point, that will happen only when this curve, that is emitter breakover voltage, current will reach the peak value. Okay, or will reach the peak voltage. Okay, will reach the peak voltage. So at this point, when the Vx will reach the peak voltage, okay, that will then our diode D1 will be turned on. That is called Vd. Now in that case, Vd will also be added with zeta times Vbb. Okay, now your diode is turned on. When it is turned on, then the current will start increasing. The current will start increasing, but this emitter to B1 resistance will start decreasing because of the forward bias condition of this diode. Because whenever the current will go on increasing, its resistance, that is this path resistance emitter to base 1 resistance, path resistance will go on decreasing because of the increase in the IE. You can see I is increasing from peak to valley. Okay, from peak to valley the I is go on increasing. Okay, but the voltage is go on decreasing. You can see voltage is go on decreasing. Okay, so you can say RB1 is go on decreasing, current is increasing but resistance is decreasing. That's why this portion is now acting like a negative resistance result. Okay, so once we will reach the valley current, that is the maximum current, or minimum voltage, that is known as a valley voltage. Okay, here if you bring, if your current, forward current will come down below this, then your UJT will be turned off. But as at this point will reach the saturation, okay, even beyond that, once will reach the saturation, your current will go on increasing up to 50 milliampere. Okay, that is known as a saturation region. But at this point, if you somehow make your UJT which was triggered here, okay, when Vx became less than V triggered here, which will be on. If you bring it below this, then it will UJT will be turned off. Okay, so this is the basic operation of UJT, which is operating in the three different modes: cutoff mode, negative resistance mode, because I is gone increasing, but you can see the voltage will be reducing, or resistance is reducing, that is RB1 resistance is reducing. RB1 resistance is reducing. Because of RB1 resistance is reducing, okay, your Vx is go on increasing, means it's slowly turning into the off state. Once again the cycle is about to repeat here. Next we can see the same cycle will be repeated here. Here you can see R and C we are using compared to the previous circuitry. There you can see here RB1 and RB2 will be remaining same, but here we are using R and C here, like that. Okay, now what is happening here, when you apply VBB, okay, when you apply VBB through R, C will start charging. Through R, C will start charging. Still now we will assume that your diode is off. Through R, C will start charging as long as this emitter diode is off. Okay, your charging time is very much less, that is decided by the R resistance, R value here. Okay, if R value is more, your charging time is very much less, in a very short time it will charge. Okay, so when capacitor will start and charge and reach to the peak value, when the voltage at this point, that is decided by the peak value of charging of capacitance, that is going to decide the emitter voltage. When the voltage at this point is more, okay, compared to this one, this will be triggered on. When capacitor will reach the peak value, okay, peak value, that is Vp here, your emitter diode will be triggered on, and your capacitor will start discharging through R1. Now your discharging time is decided by the R1 now, emitter resistance, sorry, base resistance, emitter to base resistance. Okay, so that we want to keep it very much less. Okay, So means the charging time and discharging time are decided by respectively R and R1, which are going to decide the triggering of your UJT. Triggering of your UJT. Okay. So we are able to generate different triggering pulses here with the help of charging and discharging of this. That's what is known as a relaxation oscillator. And here we are going to make use of the negative resistance characteristics of the UJT. The negative resistance ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, current increase ಆದಂಗೆ resistance of this will go on decreasing. Resistance of this, because emitter current is so increasing rapidly, in the same way the RBM will be decrease so rapidly. RBM decrease ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ that is going to provide very less time to discharge that's why you can see here we are getting very less time to discharge your capacitor voltage, because R1 is decreasing very rapidly, okay, because of large current, emitter current flowing there. Okay, emitter current fast flow ಆಗ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ, we are not providing sufficient time for the emitter charges to recombine here. Okay, so rapidly it has been flown that we will not leaving any time for the majority carriers coming from the heavily doped P region into the N region. ಅವು ಬಂದಾಗ recombination ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಟೈಮೇ ಕೊಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು, ಅಷ್ಟು ಫಾಸ್ಟಾಗಿ ಅವು ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತಾವೆ. So we will be leaving with very short time for the discharging of the capacitance. Again the cycle will be repeated. Okay, hope you understood this one, and also go through the notes to understand the little bit in detail about that one. So again otherwise you can see the video again and again. So before we'll wind up the module 1, we'll take one question paper. This is the first question paper we got because your syllabus is recently introduced in the last year, January 2020 till 18EC 36. Now one thing you can see, name the power semiconductor devices along with their circuit symbols and maximum ratings. Okay, so these some snapshots I have given here, some power semiconductor devices here, okay, like diode, thyristor, track, okay, MOSFET, BJT, insulated gate, bipolar junction transistor, like that, with their ratings has been shown here, these two. Okay, and the symbols are there here. The symbols are also there. If you want you can refer. Okay, so better you can write you can use this thyristor, GTO long form you can write there, the gate triggered oscillator there, track, Lasker, IGBT, N channel MOSFET and SIT. Their symbols are there and the ratings are given here, or ratings you can use which are available here are also given here along with the symbols. Okay, minimum 5 you can use there because it has been asked for 4 marks here. So don't write only 4, don't take the risk, at least to write one extra, that is for 5 marks you can 4 plus 1 5 you can write. Next one, explain the operation of SCR in terms of 2 transistor model and derive anode current. This I explained there, go through the video. And gate currents relation, discuss how small gate current can trigger the device into condition. So that you can explain with the help of the question, that last equation. For 8 marks it has been asked. This is the latching current. He has shown here some problem is there based on the firing pulse he has given here, and thyristor is turned on, triggering on method he has given here. So let me cover some initial portion of the module 2 where we are coming across some of the triggering methods that we have not covered in the not there in the module 1. Thereafter we will come across this, otherwise if you know you can go through that one. So or another point, another question is has been asked for 20 marks. Enumerate the applications of power electronics that I given there along with supporting video also you can go through and try to write. 4 marks it has been asked, at least 4 if you want to write you can write, but in detail, or you can briefly if you want to write you can write 8 applications. Thoroughly if you want to write you write 4 applications, and briefly if you want to write you can write 8 applications. This you keep in mind. Explain the operation of cell commutation by resonating load. It is a class C with relevant circuit and waveforms. This has been covered. What are the gate triggering schemes? Explain the circuit diagram and waveforms. Now RC triggering circuit, just now I explained there. Different gate triggering schemes means dv by dt triggering and heating, thermal, temperature, light, everything. Those things you can write. It has been asked for 8 marks. Maybe 3 marks will be there for this, and remaining 5 he is going to do like this. Okay, approximately like that. Okay, so we'll now stop.